Stephen A. Smith and Dan Le Batard, both sellouts. So, for those of you that don't know, Stephen A. Smith, after the layoffs of ESPN, he took to his own show, the Stephen A. Smith podcast, the Stephen A. Smith show, to address all of the noise that was surrounding the layoffs, for the people that was calling him out, the people that were wishing that he got fired, the people that were looking for an explanation, the people that said ESPN fell off. And he also addressed Dan Le Batard again. He did that previously, like 6 months ago, because just for context, he had to join Dan Le Batard's show. And onto his show, Dan Le Batard called Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless the reason why sports media and sports debate are the way they is today, and that it's pretty much dead and it lost all integrity, which Stephen A. Smith obviously took exception to. And he actually accused Dan Le Batard, who used to work at ESPN, of being being an hypocrite, because he benefited from that form and the evolution of sports media, and he also took a long time to actually get away from ESPN, and now he's over there talking smack from the other side. So while Stephen A. Smith was actually coming at Dan Le Batard, I was understanding his perspective. And then Dan Le Batard took to his own show. I was about to make a video about this before I came across this article. And he responded to Stephen A. Smith, and basically he argued, and he won the debate, in my opinion. He dismantled every point that Stephen A. Smith put on the table, and he also went out Stephen A. Smith and called Stephen A. Smith an hypocrite, because Stephen A. Smith accused Dan Le Batard of something that he did not say, but it was actually a black journalist who said, and quite conveniently, he ignored that and put all on it on Dan Le Batard. So I was about to make this video about this until I came across this article from TheStreet.com, who says that Dan Le Batard's colleague, his name is Stugotz, I don't know the guy personally, but yeah, he basically went at both of them, calling both of them sellouts. So I'm going to read what he had to say, and then I'm going to give you my take on this. He said, and I quote, "Journalism as we know it, as you know it, what you wanted to do when you were a little kid, has changed. You're not wrong. Stephen A. Smith is not wrong. You have to adapt sometimes. No one cares how someone goes and get the news that they get, as long as the news is accurate, as long as it's coming from a credible place." Then he said, "Every time Stephen A. Smith does that show, his journalistic integrity, it sheds away. He's doing a debate show debating the most ridiculous topics in sports. It has to affect his credibility some way." He also said later, "You all sold out, every single one of you. Stephen A. Smith jumped into inside the circus tent. I do not blame him. Why did he do it? Because he had to do it. You have did journalism a long time ago. Because why? Survival of the fittest. Then you have to change with the times." And I end the quote right here. So now, it's a lot to unpack in that quote. First of all, did Stephen A. Smith actually affected the media landscape when it comes to sports coverage in a bad way? I want to say he gets a bad rap for this overall, but there is definitely some validity to that. Because before sports media, people would talk sports, but it wasn't so interesting. It became way more entertaining as soon as some narratives got associated to the game. And regardless of the narratives are fun or not, they're still, driving stories that will put more stocks into the game and the outcome of the athletes' encounters on the field. And when you win or when you lose, you feel way more emotions than without these narratives. That's just a fact. And you have to thank Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless a lot for that, just for coming out with these narratives. The only problem is that this is through a debate platform, and that the ego gets in the way a lot of times, because there are several ways to debate. You can just take one side of the argument, the other part takes another side of the argument, and you just put forward your points, and you kind of bounce off ideas of each other, but you don't necessarily need to win every debate. That is not the approach that Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless are taking, or they used to take. It's always about being the winner of the debate, and they will go as far as they need to do so. Sometimes they will lie. Sometimes they will just spin off stuff that just didn't happen that way. Sometimes they will create fake narratives just to sell stuff, just to win, just to put a player down, to put another player up and everything. And this is when it becomes toxic. And this whole culture, this actually affected, obviously, sports media. It's a bunch of shows who are tailored off the same blueprint, doing the same stuff. It's all over TV. It's even podcasts doing that stuff. And even in our daily lives, if you go out there, you go to the barbershop and you start talking, people will start with facts for those who actually know the sports. And as soon as you put them in the corner, they will just start lying or going off, feeding off narratives that they heard somewhere on TV or on Instagram, who sometimes are just rooted in nothing. Just clout, just hate, just stuff that came from these TV shows. And we have to think about the athletes also sometimes. These are their lives, so we can't just go out there and create stuff just because we have to win debates. And just also, it kind of takes away from the love of the game and everything. Now it's rare that you go on TV and you see actual basketball talk. It's more entertainment. I'm not mad at it, but it started in journalism, and journalism at first was about spreading news and awareness, all facts. Now you have guys like Kendrick Perkins who can go on TV, and because he felt like Nikola Jokic wasn't deserving of the MVP, for example, just create this whole fake narrative that, the voters are racist against black people, and he just took off. And for some reason, for some people, Nikola Jokic actually lost an MVP because of that. It started on TV, a fake narrative. So, and it's more example of this, of people seeing their lives changing, their money being affected, their families having to step in with Russell Westbrook and everything, because Skip Bayless was over there calling them, and Russell Westbrook, he got so bad that his wife has to jump in and say, like, stop, So all that stuff is toxic. So I definitely kind of agree with the guys, Stugotz, but we also need to appreciate Stephen A. Smith for what he contributed to sports media and making sports more interesting. But that's just my opinion. Get in the comment section. Appreciate you guys for checking me out. As always, give me your thoughts about, Stephen A. Smith selling out, then Batard selling out, and about sports media as a whole. And please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.